MRI machine the other day and died. Now, if you recently saw the movie Final Destination, I watched it. And it was a scene where a guy went to a doctor's office or hospital where there was an MRI machine in the room and he had like piercings and stuff over his body. And the MRI machine turned on and it sucked him in. And I'm talking about it was horrible. All right. It was one of the worst scenes in that movie, Final Destination. Well, this article that we about to get into, this is Final Destination in real life. Like, this is horrible. All right. So I heard about this story, and now some details are coming out. The wife is speaking out about the day he got sucked into the MRI machine and what took place. So we're going to get into this article from the Daily Mail, and honey, whew, it's a lot going on here. A lot going on here. So let's get into it. The article reads, the heartbroken wife of a Long Island man who was tragically killed after being pulled into an MRI machine is blaming the imaging technician for his death. Uh-oh. Yeah, we got a lawsuit going. Keith McAllister, 61, was critically injured Wednesday afternoon at Nassau Open MRI in Westbury after being violently drawn into the machine by the metal necklace he was wearing. Oh, that had to be horrible. He later died from his injuries, according to Nassau County Police. His wife, Adrienne Jones McAllister, had just completed an MRI on her knee and asked the technician to bring her husband in to help her off the table. Okay? When McAllister entered the room, still wearing the 20-pound metal chain his wife said he used for weight training. Oh, that makes this story even more horrible. So he was wearing a necklace from weight training. It must have been like one of those chain necklace, those chains that they like attach weights, or they just be heavy necklaces like they work their neck out and stuff with. Oh my God. All right. So still wearing the 20-pound metal chain his wife said he used for weight training. The machine's powerful magnetic force suddenly pulled him in. She said, I saw him walk towards the table and then the machine just snatched him in. Oof. He went limp in my arms and this is still pulsating in my brain. She alleged that the technician allowed her husband into the room despite the visible chain, which had been worn on previous visits to the same facility. So it's no hiding this big chain that you wear at the gym, all right? And this trained technician that went to school, took classes for this, still let him in. Ooh, they're gonna sue the draws off that place. That was not the first time the guy had seen that chain, she said. They'd have conversations about it before. After the incident, McAllister suffered multiple heart attacks and later died from his injuries. Oh my God. McAllister's stepdaughter, Samantha Bolden, echoed her mother's sentiment, blaming the technician for her stepfather's premature death. She said, while my mother was laying on the table, the technician left the room to get her husband to help her off the table. He forgot to inform him to take the chain he was wearing from around his neck off when the magnet sucked him in. She also pushed back against claims reported by several news stations that McAllister was not authorized to be in the room. So he was authorized. They told him to come in the room. All right. Several news stations are saying he wasn't authorized to be in the room when in fact he was because the technician went and brought him into the room. She wrote on the GoFundMe page, organized to help cover burial expenses. Oh, he didn't even have no life insurance, honey. Oh my God. And his wife. Listen, a technician is supposed to take you off the table. That's what they train for. They train to take you off the table. He should not have went and got the husband. See, that's the problem. According to a release from the Nassau County Police Department, McAllister entered the MRI room while a scan was still underway when the machine's strong magnetic force pulled him in by the metallic chain around his neck. Joan McAllister told News 12 that she had called out to her husband after asking the technician to get him. Let's see. She said the technician summoned him into the room despite his wearing the heavy chain, an item that they had even joked about on previous visits, saying things like, "Oh, that's a big chain." When he got close to her, she said, at that instant, the machine switched him around, pulled him in, and he hit the MRI machine. I said, "Could you turn off the machine? Call 911, do something. Turn this damn thing off," she recalled as tears ran down her face. He went limp in my arms. She added that the technician tried to help her pull McAllister off the machine, but it was impossible. My mother and the tech tried several minutes to release him before the police were called. He was attached to the machine for almost an hour before they could release his chain. Let me tell you something. I did schooling for medical assistant and nursing, okay? The things that I saw go on in doctor's office, okay? I took care of a mother that had cancer that I had to go to the hospital with plenty of times. So I know that the hospital make mistakes all the time. If people knew the laws that hospitals were breaking and that they can sue, they just feel like they can't fight a hospital. They feel like the hospital gonna have lawyers and stuff that they can't fight. But some things that the hospitals do, like my mother, when she was almost at the end of her cancer journey, she had to get a procedure to take like some tubes out of her stomach. And they was supposed to put something like, I guess they was trying to give an IV or something. And what they did, they went through the vein. So when they pulled the needle out, blood was going everywhere. She was already low on blood, okay? Because they always checking for blood. She was dried up. She had nothing. And then they went through the vein and pulled the needle out, and blood was everywhere. And she never recovered from that. It was like downhill from that. I have seen hospitals several different times make mistakes. They gave her too much chemo one time in the hospital. They didn't even have a medical name for this. They came up with a name, chemo brain, when they gave her so much chemo that she was out of her mind. She didn't know who she was. She kept hopping out the bed. I had to lay on top of her. Like my mom, she's a big woman like me. We both 6 foot. All the nurses was small. So she only wanted me to help her off the beds and stuff. So when they put her in the hospital and just gave her like this test chemo, because the tumors was growing so fast and so rapidly that it caused her, like, she didn't know anything that was going on. She just kept hopping out the bed trying to go out the room. And I literally had to lay on top of her to keep her on this bed. All right. That was the hospital. All right. My daughter, when she was in the hospital having a baby, she was supposed to be getting like an epidural. It was some medicine that, they put in the IV to help the contractions come on. The young lady put it through her arm and it started burning. She started screaming and they had to come in and stop it. Come to find out, it was a student. It was a student nurse that they left in there on her own, and then she messed some stuff up. The hospital do things them every day. You got nurses that I've read articles of nurses that have taken needles that had medicine in it take the medicine out and put like water or the IV, whatever that sterilization or whatever, salt water that they have in the IV, they put it in the syringes and inject it into the patients. And the nurse be selling the stuff. The hospital, listen, I dated a guy at 18 that was a drug dealer. I used to, with my dumb self, I used to ride around in the car with him while he go to serve people. And that was the first time that I learned lawyers, doctors, they are the biggest cokeheads, all right? The biggest crackheads. Nurses are some of the biggest pill heads. And they be so stressed out, so overworked, trying to keep up this facade for everybody that sometimes they make mistakes at work. Everybody make mistakes at their job, at their jobs. Nurses and doctors, they mistakes just stand out a little bit more. Okay? So for this technician to tell this guy to come in, not with this big chain on. He told him to come in and help her get off the bed. Why he didn't get her off the bed? Jobs like that, you can't take any chances. You taking chances with people's lives. When I first heard about this story before the details came out, I thought it was like a regular necklace. Come to find out, this is a 20-pound necklace that you wear at the gym that you exercise with. Like, that is unacceptable. They are going to get a lot of money, but that's not going to bring the father back. That's not going to bring her husband back. That's not going to stop her from having nightmares and flashbacks. That's not going to heal any of that. They're going to get some millions. Just like the young man that was too heavy that got into the ride at the park that go up and he fell out because he was too heavy. They knew, they were trained. You only supposed to be a certain amount of weight to ride this ride. And they didn't. They put him on there and he fell out. His parents got a bunch of millions, but it's not going to bring their son back. It's not going to stop the hurt and the pain. All the money in the world. That's why me personally, I don't want to work a job where somebody's life is affected by the things that I do. I can't do it. That's why I never went back, especially after I took care of my mom and seen all that stuff. I said, I'm not going back to school for nursing. I don't want to do none of this. I'm good. This ain't what's up. And now look, this man dead in a freak accident type of way. That is freak. I'm quite sure we're going to be getting some more details. I'm quite sure they're going to be hiring a lawyer. They probably got a lawyer right now. And if some more details come out, you know y'all going to be the first one I bring it to and report it to. So until next time, y'all be safe out there. Listen, pay attention to the rules. See what's going on. Pay attention to your surroundings. Because you do not want to wind up like this. Peace.